I'm Anil Kumar. Let me thank all the viewers and subscribers for watching my videos on YouTube and making excellent suggestions. So here is a request from Mr. Francis Jr. of Moneymar. He wants to understand how do we solve questions related to reduction or increase in price with fixed expenditure. Now, to explain the concept, I have taken up 4 questions here. As you see, they are very similar, and that will help us to understand the concept. The last question here, which I have purposely written question number 1 also, says, when the price is reduced by R%, a person can buy E kg more in D dollars. Find the reduced price and original price. Now, for the benefit of our viewers from North America, I'm using dollars instead of rupees. Okay. Now, let's go through these questions and understand how they are very similar. So, first statement, if you see, it is when the price is reduced by 20%, a person can buy 5 kg more in $300. Find the reduced price and original price, right? So obviously, if I reduce the price of an item for the same amount, which is our fixed expenditure, we can buy more, right? So reduced price and fixed expenditure results into excess buying, which in this case is given to you. So in this question, we need to find the reduced price and the original price. Then question number 2 is exactly same with numbers being different. 25% reduced, 2 kg more for $240. Question number 3 is, instead of reduced, I have changed to increased. When the price is increased by 25%, a person can buy 5 kg less. When you increase the price, you'll definitely buy lesser for the same amount. So if your expenditure is fixed, right, you don't want to change the expenditure, then you cannot buy that much, right, since the prices are now higher. So you buy less. Now to generalize, we have taken the last question, which I thought I'll begin with, but now I'm going to end with this, right? So I'm making this as question number 4. When the price is reduced by R%, so when we talk about increase, this will be minus R. Think like this. So when the price is reduced by R%, a person can buy E kg more in D dollars. Find the reduced price and original price. Now we'll actually do a derivation here and come up with a formula. Now the formula here will be that reduced price is X is equal to, let me give you the formula, right? So from these numbers, it is the dollars which you are trying to spend, right? And the reduction in percent that gets multiplied, right? They help you to buy more. That is why they get multiplied. And now dividing by 100 minus R, that is the reduction, times E kg more, right? So E kg more. So that becomes a formula which can be applied to find the reduced price in all the cases. Perfect. Now I've seen that the solutions could be many different types, but what I observe here is shortcuts like this are very confusing. You may mix up with the signs or things like that and get a wrong answer. Secondly, you may not really understand the concept. Apply the formula and for once you may get the solution, but not always, right? So the idea here is to adopt a simpler method which works, and then you also appreciate this formula could have been used, but if you don't remember the formula, it makes no difference, right? So my method, which I'm going to now talk about, will be much simpler than remembering any shortcut or formula, right? So we'll go with the very basic concepts and solve these questions one by one. I hope you'll appreciate that. So let's begin by solving the very first question, which is, when the price is reduced by 20%, a person can buy 5 kg more in $300. Find the reduced price and the original price. Now, let us see. Now let's see what is the original price. We'll define a variable for original price. So let's say original price is always in dollars per kg in this case, right? Since we are buying the commodity in kg. So let's say the original price is X. Reduced price is going to be less, so we'll write reduced price here. And the price is reduced by 20%. That really means it is X minus 20% of X. Is that clear to you? So that is to say X minus 20% is 20 over 100. Of means times X, or it is X minus 0.2X, or you can write this as 0.8x. Right, so in the very first example, I'm actually not omitting any steps. Many of you could have just directly written this. 20% you're not paying, 80% you are paying. So that is the reduced price. Does it make sense to you? So basically, you should see this is, it is 80% of original. Correct? So that is how we need to understand. Right. Now we talked about reduced price. Now what we have here is a fixed amount. The money is fixed. Budget expenditure is $300. So the amount which we have, or the expenditure, let me write. For both the cases, the expenditure is fixed to $300. So we have $300 to purchase. Now when the price is less, we also say rate, right? This is also called the rate. When the rate is less, you can buy more. So that means we can now look into the quantity. Right? So quantity in both the cases. Quantity is amount over rate, right? Let me write on the formula here. Quantity is expenditure, or you can say, let's write expenditure over rate. It makes sense. We have expenditure in dollars, right? And the rate is in dollars divided by kg. So which gives you units as kg only, correct? Dollar, dollar cancel. So you get quantity in kg. Perfect. Makes sense? Okay. Now, what is the quantity for buying in reduced price? It will be 300 divided by the rate, which is 0.8x. Now, what is the quantity? If you buy originally, it was 300 over x, right? So that was the quantity. Now we are given here that you can buy 5 kg more. Of course, when it is cheaper, you can buy more. It makes sense. So we can now write our equation. So equation now becomes, let me write down here, we'll simplify then, 300 over 0.8x, this quantity is more, minus 300 over x, and it is more by 5 kg. Do you see that? So we get our equation. Is that very clear? So basically, for 300, we have to buy 2 items. You can think same item, but 2 prices. One was x, so 300 over x. The other one was 0.8x. And the difference in this quantity is 5. Right? So you get your equation. Now we need to solve this equation taking common denominator and then solving. So I'm actually not reducing the numbers to show you that finally we get similar numbers. I could have really simplified here and done all this in no time. But I'm not doing that. I'm taking common denominator of 0.8x. In that case, we have 300 minus. This gets multiplied by 0.8, correct? And that is equal to 5. So this is the equation which we get and which we need to solve. Perfect. So let's solve it on the right side. We'll cross multiply to solve. We'll take 300 common just to make things simpler. So 300 common, 1 minus 0.8, 1 minus 0.8 divided by 0.8. We are cross multiplying, so we get here 5 and we get x on the other side. So we isolate x. We need to find the original price, that is x. And now it is, let's rewrite this, one more calculation. 300 times 0.2, that is 20%. Do you see that? 80% is your reduced price. And 5 kg is the excess amount you could buy. So do you see it gives you a link that the original price is product of 320% and it is divided by the reduced price and the excess amount. So that is a relation. This is a shortcut formula which sometimes is utilized. But I hope you have understood this whole process. Now it is a simple question of reducing it. So we can divide this by 4, correct? And 5 goes how many times? 5 times 6 and 0. And then dividing by 4, we get 15. So we know that the value of x for us is $15. So x is equals to, in dollars, we'll write 15 per kg. Correct? So the rate is dollars per kg. I wrote straight. This is x equals to 15. So we wrote x. The original price is $15 per kg. Clear? Now what is the reduced price? Reduced price is 0.8x, 0.8 times 15. Correct? So when you multiply this, 8 times 4 is 8 times 5 is 40, and 8 times 1 is 8, and 4 12. Right? That's what you get. So we get both our prices. So that is so many dollars per kg. Does make sense to you? So we get our answer. Now, the calculation which we did is to understand the whole process. It does take time. I'm not denying that. But here is how we can think logically and have a shortcut. You could also apply a shortcut formula, since you saw that we have an equation here which relates to the numbers given to us, right? Now, let's read the question to understand the shortcut method. It says, when the price is reduced by 20%, a person can buy 5 kg more in $300. So basically, the purchasing power has increased, right? Since the price was reduced, right? So when the price was reduced, we have some excess money, right? So we have some excess amount to buy 5 kg. Do you see that? So how much is that excess amount? 20% of the amount which we are using as an expenditure. So this excess amount is 20% of $300. Does it make sense to you? Now 20% of $300 is equal to what? Is 0.2 times 300, which is in $60. Correct? So we have this excess amount. In this excess amount, we did excess purchasing, right? So excess quantity. Is how much? Excess quantity is 5 kg. Correct? So excess quantity is this. That means, what is the reduced price? This was possible because of the reduced price, correct? So the reduced price is dollar over kg, right? So it is basically $60, right, over 5 kg, and that is $12 per kg. No calculations required, as we did all this, and we still get the same answer of our reduced price, which is $12 per kg. Do you see that part? So, just by thinking about the excess money power you have because of the reduction in price, which helps you to buy 5 kg more, we can find the reduced price. Now, once you have the reduced price, what is your original price? Well, for original price, we know reduced price is 80% of the original, right? We know it is 80% of the original is my reduced price. So we know 0.8 of original price is 12, and therefore x is 12 divided by 0.8, which is as good as 120 divided by 8, correct? So when you do that, 8 times 1, this is 1, right? 8 times 1 is 8, 40, 15. So we get reduced price as $15 per kg. Do you see that part? So we get the same answer. So now, do you like this method? This is a straightforward method. We are going to apply this method in question number 2 and 3 to follow. Do you see that? So what we have got here is original and reduced. Rates are what? Original rates, we worked out and reduced is lesser, right? So original was $15 per kg and reduced was $12 per kg. That becomes our answer, right? Now keeping this in mind, let us now solve 2 more questions based on this particular concept, right? So here we go. When the price is reduced by 25%, a person can buy 2 kg more in $240. Find the reduced price and the original price. Correct? So price reduced. By 25%, right? That means what? That means we have excess purchasing power. Do you see that? So price reduced by 25%, excess. So we have excess purchasing power. We are only investing $240, right? So we can write this as excess dollar value, do you understand, is actually 25% of 240, correct? So when I say 25%, you can multiply by 0.25, right? You can multiply by 0.25 240, or you could also do 1/4 of 240, right? So sometimes using fractions is much faster. 25% is 1/4, right? So either way, you get excess value as 1/4 of 240, which is $60. Correct? So you get $60 as the excess value. And what do you do with this? You buy 2 kg more. Right? So quantity purchased, let me write in short. Quantity purchased. I should say excess quantity. Right? That is 2 kg more, right? Is 2 kg. So therefore, this implies that what is the reduced rate? Is definitely rate is dollars per kg, right? So it is $60 over 2 kg. So we get the reduced rate as $30 per kg, right? Which we are saying is the reduced price. You see how easy it is, right? Now you can of course find the original price. So now let's work on the original price. We know the original price has to be more because less is this, right? original price is more. So 25% less means 75%, right? So we have original price calculations now, right? So if we have the reduced price here, let me underline this. Now reduced price is 25% less, or we know that 75% of original is reduced price. Clear? Because it is 25% less. So the reduced price is 75%, right? We are not paying 25%. So original is X, let's say. 75% means what? 75% I would like to write as 3 over 4. 75% is 75 over 100, or 3/4 of the original price, which is X, is equal to $30. Does make sense? So X is 30 times 4 over 3. So when you multiply, you get 10 here times 4, $40. Do you see that? So we get the original price as $40 per kg. Is that clear? Do you like this method? So straightforward. Do you see this? So we are only working with the excess amount, and when the prices will increase, it is the deprived amount, right? Okay. So let's take another example. Now this time we are saying when the price is increased by 25%, a person can buy 5 kg less. Find the increased price and the original price. You get the idea, right? So if you increase the price, you buy less. Makes sense, right? Now 25% increase on, so we are saying we have 25% increase, and the amount was $250, right? So that really means our loss of purchasing, we are less, we are in a position to buy less. So what is 25% of $250? So how much purchasing have we lost? So the lost amount is 25% of 250, right? Is 25% of 250. That means 25% is 1/4, right, of 250. Do you see that? So that is our lost amount. And what are we saying here? We can buy 5 kg less. 5 kg less, right? So for this loss amount, 5 kg less. Is that clear? So this happened because we increased the price. So that means the increased price is how much? So we can now find from here increased price, which is, this is the dollar value, right? 1/4 of 250, and we are going to divide this dollar value by 5 kg. You see that? So we get our increased price. Very simple, because we could not buy 5 kg, which we could have bought earlier. Does make sense to you, right? So we get increased price as equal to 1/4 of 250 divided by 5. Easy. So we can just divide this, and we get, this goes 5 0 times, and that goes 1 12.5. Correct? So that is how we are going to answer this question. So we get the increased price as, in dollars, $12.50 per kg. Correct? Do you see how simple it is? When the prices increase, the purchasing power decreases, therefore we are buying less. Now, by how much did it decrease? 25% of 250, which we kept here as a fraction. Now, since we bought 5 kg less, we can now find the rate, right? So, the increased price we got as this quantity divided by 5 gives us 1250 per kg. Now, we can find the original price, right? So, original price. It says when the price was increased by 25%, we get the increased price. Is it okay? So original price X is basically equal to 1. So the increased price is 1.25 of the original price, right? So original price is X and the increased, let the original price be X. So when the price is increased by 25%, we get increased price. Let's write like this. And increased price is 25% more. That means 1.25 of X, 25% more than original price. Right? So this is important to understand. When the price is increased by 25%, we get the increased price. So X increased by 25% will be X plus 25% of X, which is 1.25. So the increased price is 1.25X. We know it is 1250. So we can say 1.25 of the original price is 1250. And therefore, X is equal to 1250 divided by 1.25. So which is 10. Okay? So we get the original price also. Now we can write down our answer. And which is that increased price and original price. Increased price is $12.50 per kg and the original price is $10 per kg. Does it make sense? So you can check your result. If you increase it by 25%, you get 1250, correct? So that is how we are going to solve it. So now let's move on and develop a general formula to solve the equations related to reduction and increase in price with fixed expenditure. You may decide whether to use this particular formula or the method which we learned for solving question number 1, 2, and 3. The question now is, when the price is reduced by R%, a person can buy excess E kg more in dollars D. Find the reduced price and the original price, right? So we'll begin with writing what the original price is. And when we reduce it, it'll be lesser, so we'll write here reduce. Right, so this price will be in dollars. It's good to go with the units as units help us to check our formulas, right? So let the original price be X. It says when the price is reduced by R%, that means reduced price will be X minus R% of X, right? So that is X minus R over 100 of X. You can take X common and write this as 1 minus R over 100. So that is your reduced price. Correct? Now for both the cases, we have fixed expenditure, right, which is E, right? So for both the cases, we have the amount E in dollars. So that is what we are saying expenditure. Now, since the price has been reduced, sorry, the dollars is D, axis is E, right? So dollars is D for us, okay. E is the axis. Since the price has been reduced, you can buy E kg more, right? So we have here excess E. So we have excess quantity. you can buy E. E is in kg. Axis is E, right? Okay. So excess quantity you can buy is E kg. Correct. Okay. Now, let us see what you can actually do when you have $D and the rate is X, when you have $D and rate is this much. Then what is your excess quantity? Quantity when you can buy is, let's write down quantity. Quantity purchased. So in the first case, since you have D dollars, right, divided by the rate, which is X times 1 minus R over 100. And in the second case, you have D dollars and you are able to buy divide by X, which is the rate. So that is the quantity in kg which you buy. Correct? That is the quantity in kg which you buy, since we have here D in dollars and the rate is in dollars per kg. So the quantity is in kg. Do you see that? Now we are given that this difference is E. So we can now make an equation which is D over X times 1 minus R over 100 minus D over X, and this is equal to the excess purchasing power. Does make sense to you? So we get our equation. So when the original price is X and it has been reduced by R%, then the reduced price is X 1 minus R over 100. And therefore, you can buy more quantity. Dividing the dollar value with the rate, we get the quantities which you can buy with the reduced price and with the original price. And the excess amount E is there. Right? We'll take common denominator and isolate E. Right? So what we have here is, we can actually just multiply this by 100 and rewrite this, right? So we have 100 times D over, we have taken the common denominator, right? So we'd say X times 100 minus R minus D over X equals to excess quantity E purchased. Now, the common denominator for us will be X times 100 minus R, and here we'll keep this as 100D. This D will get multiplied with 100 minus R, and that is equal to E. When you open the bracket, 100D minus 100D is 0. We are left with D times R, right? D times R, minus minus becomes positive, over X times 100 minus R, and this is equal to E. Correct? We can isolate X now by cross multiplication. So we have dr over 100 minus R times E, the excess amount, is equals to X. So we get a formula for original price. Now this formula relates the dollar amount which we have, the percentage reduction R, and 100 minus R, which is the now new purchase price, right, times excess amount you can buy. Does make sense to you? Correct? So we get our formula straight to find the original price. So you can always use this particular formula to find the original price. All right. Now here, let me also tell you one thing. This was the case when we have done reduction, right? Now if there is an increase in price, this is done for reduction. Now if you have increase in price, increase in, let's say, I percent. So instead of reduction in R percent, we have increase in I percent, and we have a loss in kg, right? So we will buy less, right? So if we change, we have increase in I percent, and this is less. E kg, I L kg less. In that case, the original price X will be equal to, everything remains same, the denominator, now you are paying more, right? So it is plus R times what less you buy. So the formula gets slightly modified, and you can use this formula to find the original price. Now, once you have the original price, you can always find the reduced price using that percent, right? As we did in the earlier examples. So I hope this is clear to you. So you can use this formula to find original price also directly. However, you will understand that the method which we used right here to just work with the amount and the excess buying or loss in buying to calculate is very effective method. You do not really have to remember any formula for solving such questions, right? So we took example for reduced price and also for increased price to solve all our questions. Perfect. So with this, I will like to end the video. So here are the 4 questions which we just did. And let me just add that if I would have changed the question, which is like increased by, right? So increased by I percent and can buy less LKG for this dollar value of D. In that case, my formula of X will be D times R over 100. Just think R is negative. So this is negative, that is also negative, right? So all negatives will just make it positive, and this is loss. Do you see that? So we get this formula. So you could use these formulas also if you remember. However, as you have seen in my solution, the method which I discuss is much, much simpler than using any formula. I hope that makes sense. So logic prevails. Thanks for your time and all the best.